Up. All right, welcome everybody. This is an impromptu training on how DefineMap works. Specifically, we're going to focus on the ordering of the different behaviors like value, type, set, and get. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how all of this works underneath the hood to hopefully give some context, just so, you know, maybe makes it easier to remember how this actually works. So let's start with an example here. I'm going to make a mind map here. Let's just get all the behavior. So there's value, there's type. I'm going to do it kind of in the order of things run. Not sure exactly. Maybe value should kind of come first. Then there's set function, and this is going to get some value. And then there's a get function, and it's going to take the last set. This also takes a resolve here, and this takes a resolve, but we're not really going to be using it. Maybe we will. I'm just going to, for now, I'm just going to return. This is a string. I'm gonna change things up a little bit. I'm gonna console log set, and then with the value I got, what I'm gonna do is take that and convert it. Now, interestingly, I think that because we haven't released CanJS 3.0, there is a bug that's fixed now in the latest DefineMap. I don't think we've released the version of CanJS that uses that. So I'll explain what happens. There's a value where there's a bug where value isn't going to call set, but that's supposed to happen, and it happens with define or normal can maps. Anyways, I'm going to take the value that's going to be some string that's given to me, and I'm just going to add value plus like set, and then for get, I'm going to just return last set value plus get. If I create an instance, console, I'm going to make an instance. All right, what do you guys think this should output here? mymap.prop.
Well, it should probably be one-set-get.
Yes, yeah. And then what do you think? What do you think the console logs will be? What will the set value be?
It feels like it will be one as a string in a set, and in a getter it will be whatever set returns. So
yeah, oops, I suppose, yeah.
One-set as a string.
One-set as a string. Yep, that is right, although it will not do that because of the bug. It will, oh, actually, maybe we did publish it, which is good. Actually, let me do this so that these turn out a little bit nicer. I guess we got the bug out. Wait, set, oh yeah, let me space there. Okay, so set one, then it's going to go to get one set, and it's going to be one set get. And just so we can make this clear, we'll just do type of. Okay, so the important thing, and this is what prompted this. One important thing to understand is that let's say I removed the set here. And I am going to remove value. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to initialize. Oh, well, hold on. Let's create another property. Actually, let's just leave this one alone, and we'll do, because this is nice to have. I'm going to make another property. I think some of the confusion people have is when does type run? So let's just say I had another property that was like, I'll just call it other. This is going to be just, I'm going to have type here that's going to be, I'm going to say this is square. This is, I'm going to have another number called, I'm going to have number here. And its value is going to be to 3. And I'm going to have, what do I want to have here? I'm going to have, I'm just going to have it like pretty num. I'm going to say, hey, this is type string. And let's just say I had something like this, which was like, I had this as a getter. And what this is, I wanted it to do was do something like this. Like if this dot number is 1, then it's going to write out write out 1. And then if anything else, it's going to write out it's just going to return this dot number. Right? So it's just pretty num is just this number. And it's just the string 1 if the number was actually 1, but we're initializing it to 3. Okay, so next question here is if I console log map dot pretty num, if I do a type of that, what is it going to be?
So what we learned recently, it could be either a number or a string. Like in this case, it would be a number.
It will be a number. Yeah, exactly right. So what? Hold on. That will be undefined. Oh, let's do it again. It'll be a number, right? So even though it's because the value is 3, so it's going to come to here and return number. And even though the type converter says string, the result of the getter is not run through the type converter. There's a lot of technical reasons for this, but what you should think of is type only acts on setting a value. It is only as you set the value. So, you know, number is set to 3, and here prop is set to 1. Only, yeah, type only acts as a value is being set. It doesn't have anything to do with the getter. So if you have a getter, whatever it returns, that is the type. This is totally irrelevant. So that's an important consideration thing to understand. Now, what I do want to talk about though is like when you do have kind of type, set, and get, what's going on here, right? There's really, you could think of about it, there's actually 2 values that that essentially a map maintains for a given property when you have a setter and a get. Well, really, when you have a getter, and it maintains a internal last set value. It kind of has like a internal whatever was last set, and that does go through type. And it also maintains when bound. So once prop is actually bound to, it maintains whatever the return value of get is. If this property is not bound, it still maintains the internal set value, but it doesn't maintain the last like return value of the get. It always just reruns the getter function. And that's for like memory safety and things like that. So in some ways, the way to think about it is this last set, this internal value that's getting set, that is what is type converted by type, and only that. Get is kind of a secondary thing that happens after that. Cool. So again, just to recap, if you have kind of everything, right, when prop is first read, it's actually going to take this value, run it through the type converter. Whatever the result of that type converter is, it's going to run that through set. Whatever the result of set is, that's going to be passed to last get, and whatever that returns is going to be the actual value that pops out of, like, when you're reading prop, right? So there's just this cascade, and whenever you set a value, the same flow is going to happen for the most part. Is whenever you set a value, it's going to run through the type converter first, then that's going to go to the set, and then if you read the property, an unbound property, this get function is going to be called again with whatever you set, whatever the return value of set was as the last set value. Now, if you're bound, it will probably be rerun as long as you're not setting the value to the same thing over and over again. That's kind of a cool thing about computes in general, is that, like, if I set, if I set prop to 1, it will go through the type converter, it'll go through the set converter, but then the getter will actually say, hey, you didn't actually change the last set value, so we're not going to rerun this, so we're just going to keep using the last value. But that's only when the property is bound. So this is the kind of waterfall, and if you can remember that, hopefully you can remember, how DefineMap works. And then finally, just generally speaking, if you have a getter, type is ignored. If all you have is a getter here, and you're not using last set value here, you're just your return is entirely based around other properties, then you might as well not even have this, because it's just totally ignored.
So in your example of pretty num, so if we put back the type, it would make sense if instead of referring to this number, we would refer to last set val, and then we just do map.prettyNum is equal to 5, or is equal to 1. Then when we read it, it would be a string ONE.
Yes, exactly right. So what Ilya is saying is, like, let's just say we did pretty_num, and this is just checking if last set number was 1. Well, it wouldn't ever be that, actually. We'd have to change it to kind of go like that. Otherwise, it would return last set value. Now, if we were to do something like, I'm going to initialize this to pretty_num to 2 or something. Let's just do 1. And then if I were to read this, make sure it's right here. 1, but we can see that as set val, its type is going to be string, because this went through the type converter. The interesting thing is when all of this happens, actually. So when my map is created, actually, that's when it's running through the converter. When at this point, it's running through the type converter, and then when pretty_num is read, then this is being called, and all of this logic is being gone through. That's why, actually, if you look at it, because this is unbound, if we keep reading pretty_num, we keep getting all of this, this console log keeps running here 3 times for every time we read it. But the magic of computes is that if we listen to pretty_num, and then do all of this, we should see it only once. So it's once, but then we can get every time we read the value, it's not rerunning this function because it's now bound. Cool. Any other questions?
Yeah, maybe one last. So if after all this we do map.prettyNum equal to, let's say, 3, will it go through type conversion?
Yes.
Okay.
And you'll see it'll run here again as well. Oh, pretty num. What did I get wrong here? Let's see what I get wrong here. Maybe there's a bug. Map pretty num. Oh, I have no function here. There we go. So there, yeah, same thing. So last set, we're binding on it. It's evaluating. We read pretty num a few times, and then when we set it, it reevaluates again, and then we get pretty num as 3. Cool. Any other questions? Cool. All right. Well, hopefully y'all learned a little something about DefineMap, and I will chat with you all later. All right. See ya.